Hey guys, it's Megan, and today I'm back with another 5 ways to fill your sketchbook video. This time, the theme's gonna be nostalgia. Did I say that right? Probably not. I'll explain why I picked this theme later in the video. But before we jump into it, I wanted to give a huge thank you to Ohuhu for sponsoring today's video. Ohuhu is seriously my favorite art supply brand. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I use their alcohol-based markers all the time. And they sell other art supplies too. Besides the markers, I also picked up this 8.5 by 6 inch mixed media sketchbook, a set of acrylic paint, and some paint markers to try out. If you're in the market for some new art supplies, make sure to click the link in the description to check out Ohuhu's annual birthday sale. June 14th to June 20th is marker week, so all of their markers are going to be up to 20% off. This is Ohuhu's biggest sale of the year. You won't want to miss it. Thanks again to Ohuhu for sponsoring this video, and without further ado, let's just get into it. The first idea is to recreate an old drawing. I decided to recreate this drawing from one of the first sketchbook ideas videos that I ever made, all the way back in 2018. I'd like to think that I've improved at least a little bit since then, so let's see how this goes. I remember that the original prompt for this was to draw something to use as your profile picture. In the original drawing, I drew myself sitting at my desk with a few pictures hanging in the background, and I colored it in with colored pencils. For the updated version, I wanted to make it a little bit less busy, so I made the drawing of myself a little bit bigger than it was in the original, and I updated the background a bit. I replaced the YouTube symbol drawing with a YouTube play button since I have gotten one of those since then, which is super exciting. I cannot thank you guys enough. And I also added a picture of my cats, Millie and Marty. Since the cat in the original drawing, which was my cat Lucky, unfortunately she is no longer with us, but I still love her. Don't worry, it's just, you know. When I drew the original, I had just started teaching myself how to draw, and I hadn't really developed like a style yet. I used to just look at other people's drawings and like copy them, if that makes sense. Like I could copy the lines, but I couldn't really look at a 3D image and draw it very well. This was one of my first attempts at drawing a real person in a more like cartoony style, and I tried out a bunch of different techniques before I found something that I liked. It took me at least a year or two to start seeing any sort of consistency. I experimented with a whole bunch of different mediums when I first started. So I started out using mostly colored pencils, but I quickly learned that I really do not have the patience for that. Like, with colored pencils, you need to layer, and I don't have time to make it look nice. But when I got my first set of Ohuhu markers, it was a complete game changer. These are alcohol-based markers, which basically means that they blend a lot more smoothly. And the great thing about Ohuhu markers is that they're a whole lot less expensive than some of the brands that you find at your local craft store. At their regular price, it works out to less than $1 per marker. But if you take advantage of their birthday sale that's going on right now, you can get an even better deal. My favorite set are these sets of 120 markers. I used the ones with a brush tip on one end and a bullet tip on the other for this video, but you can also get markers that have a brush tip and a chisel tip, or a chisel tip and a bullet tip. As my styles evolved, I've found that I like to color in the more detailed parts of my drawings with markers, and fill in the larger areas in the background with paint. Did you guys know that Ohuhu made paint? Because I did not, and I was actually really surprised with how nice this set was. I mean, it even came with paintbrushes. 10 out of 10, definitely recommend this. I filled in the background of the drawing with some light purple paint, and here's how my finished drawing turned out. Alright, so you're gonna have to let me know. Do you think that this is better than the original? Personally, I do think that I've improved a little. I think the biggest improvement is that I learned that you don't need to draw like all the individual teeth. Self-improvement, we love to see it. The second idea is to draw an old photo. Alright, so I said this in another video. My grandma died a few months ago. I did one of those slideshows for her funeral. So I had to go through a lot of old pictures recently, and I started thinking, like, you know what? We're gonna turn a negative into a positive, and I'm gonna use this for a video somehow. So that's kind of how this whole nostalgic theme came about. Something that I like about the Ohuhu sketchbooks is that it came with this piece of plastic that you can put in between the pages so that the marker doesn't bleed through. This picture that I chose, it's actually one of me and my grandma. We're sitting on the swings. She was not a fan of the internet, so I'm not gonna show her because obviously I can't ask her. But this is like one of the few pictures that I have where I don't look like a complete mess. But according to the date on this picture, I would have been about 4 here. I honestly don't have a whole lot to say about this because it's not like I really remember it. I will say though, I am so glad that I grew up before the whole like family vlogger thing, because there were so many photos in there that like I would really not want on the internet. Personally, I don't really want kids, but if I did, I really don't think that I'd post about them online. I mean, I could maybe see being one of those people that like shows how they make lunches for their kids, or like how they set up little activities for their kids to do, because at least with that they're not like the main focus. But I could never be like a vlogger or one of those beige Instagram moms. Like, I'm sorry, I really don't think that your income should be dependent on whether or not your kid wants to cooperate, because I mean, have you met any kids ever? As always, I colored the drawing with my Ohuhu brush markers and filled in the background with my Ohuhu acrylic paint. I don't know if I've really ever tried to paint grass before. What I did was I painted the background a light green. Then I added some smaller strokes of darker green for the blades of grass. I used another shade of dark green in a couple spots to create shadows. And here's how the finished page turned out. I actually kind of like this one. I've definitely done a lot of self-portraits in this series, but they're usually based off of what I currently look like. I don't know if I've actually ever tried to draw like a kid before, because you know, if it was somebody else's kid, that'd be creepy, but I feel like since it's me, it's fine. Anyways, speaking of self-portraits, I must have been feeling kind of narcissistic this week, because the third idea is to draw yourself as a character from your favorite childhood cartoon. I decided to draw myself as a character from Strawberry Shortcake. I definitely had a few different favorite cartoons at different points in my life, but I was obsessed with this show when I was like 6 or 7. The thing about this show is that each of the characters is based off of some type of food, and I really could not think of a food that I strongly identify with, to be honest. And I mean, they're scented, so you'd have to walk around smelling like whatever food that you pick for the rest of your life. So I gave my character an art theme instead. I feel like this would be more of like a background character, or one that shows up for like one episode and then you never see them again. I always really loved the toys from this line because they were scented like the characters. I'm pretty sure even the DVD cases were scented. I'm gonna say that my character would be coconut scented, because pretty much everything that I use, like my shampoo, my conditioner, my soap, it all smells like coconut. Although I don't think my deodorant is coconut though. I should get on that. I have a couple of Strawberry Shortcake Christmas ornaments, and they're like almost 20 years old, but they still smell. It's just amazing to me. Like, seriously, how do they do that? I did look it up, and I found this article that says that they bake perfume into the mold, and then they like make the doll's hair out of scented plastic pellets. I mean, I'm sure it's some sort of like secret process, but like, I feel like that does not really explain it. Like, I still want to know. Personally, my favorite character was always Angel Cake because she smelled the best. All the toys, they just smelled so good. When I was doing research for this video, I found out that they actually made another reboot for this, for 2021. Personally, I am not a huge fan of the character design. I think it's the eyes. I think it makes them look a little bit too much like that, Littlest Pet Shop girl character. But then again, like, obviously not the target audience, and I'm sure that they did their research to figure out what would sell. I generally don't like to leave my drawings floating in space like this, so I use my Ohuhu paint markers to add some Matisse-inspired shapes to the background. I've been obsessed with these shapes lately. I made a trash can with them, I made a pillow, and I also made these air dry clay bookends. Plus I used them in my new channel banner. I really like the Ohuhu paint pens. They're a great deal, and I love that there's so many color options. Not gonna lie, this page did end up being kind of busy, but I still like how it turned out. Let me know in the comments, what was your favorite cartoon to watch growing up? Sticking with the theme, idea number 4 is to draw your favorite childhood toy. Again, don't think too hard. I know you probably had a different favorite depending on how old you were, but I picked this dog stuffed animal that I've had since I was 3. If you're wondering, his name's Puppy. Yeah, I was 3. This was actually my mom's in the 80s, so my boy has been through it. He used to have this little outfit, but it was one of those things where it got washed so many times that it basically just like fell apart and turned into dust. I looked up the name on the tag, and oh my god, this is what he originally looked like, but as you can see, he's been very well loved. I guess I never really thought about it, but like, dang, I never realized he was so deformed. Like, what the heck? Alright, so I colored him with my Ohuhu markers, and he's looking pretty good, right? Well, the lesson here is that sometimes you need to know when to stop. Because I was just gonna leave it like this, but then I was like, no, I need a background. So I tried to paint the blankets that are behind him like I have in the reference image, and that was a mistake. It really did not turn out. Honestly, I'm just tempted to cut the drawing out and glue it onto a plain background because, oh my god, like, what am I doing? Like, and here I was just saying, oh, I've like improved and like this, maybe with markers, but not with painting. To be fair, I am a lot more experienced with coloring with markers than with painting things, and, you know, it definitely shows. But hey, if you don't practice, you won't get better. Let me know what your favorite toy was when you were a kid. But here's how the finished page turned out. See what I mean about the background? Like, sometimes less is more. But it's all good. I think it still gets the point across. This last idea is kind of random, but it's this thermal camera hand drawing. Basically what happened was, I had a different idea, it did not work out, and this series is called 5 Ways to Fill Your Sketchbook, so I needed a 5th one. So first I traced my hand, then I painted the area around it black. You know how you have Photo Booth on your Mac? For some reason, I remember this being a big part of my childhood. I feel like there used to be more effects on there than what they have now, because like I sort of remember them having something similar to zoom backgrounds. I feel like there was a fish one, and I went on Photo Booth, like on my Mac, and I couldn't find that one. Okay, so update, apparently they got rid of them. Why would they do that to me? I mean, not that I've used Photo Booth in literally 10 years, but still. But one of the effects that they have on there is this thermal camera. And obviously it's not a real thermal camera, but it still looks kind of cool. I filled in the inside of my hand to sort of look like what you'd see in a thermal camera. So I started with a few blobs of red paint, then traced around them with yellow, green, light blue, and dark blue. I used paint, but you can use any supplies that you have for this. I don't know, something about this is just super simple and fun, and you know, that's something to remember when filling out your sketchbook. Not every page has to be a masterpiece, you know? You can just have fun with it. But here's how the finished page turned out. I think this would look really cool if you put it under a black light. Or you could use glow-in-the-dark paint. I think that would look really cool too. So that was everything for this video. As always, make sure to let me know which page was your favorite. I think that my favorite was either this one that I redrew, or the drawing of an old photo. Again, thank you so much to Ohuhu for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check out their birthday sale from June 14th to the 20th using the link below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. A huge thank you to my patrons whose names are on the screen right now. My merch, my website, and all of my social media will be linked down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye!